Hey, my name's Shawnshawn. Today we're going to react to paintings by Dusan. So if you check out the website on YouTube, he has a nice kind of detail shot of one of his paintings, which kind of half finished canvas and detail shot. So I really like that. I think that's a pretty strong banner ad here that you can have on YouTube. He has a picture of himself in the background. You can't really make out who it is. Maybe he wants to live in secret. I don't know. But I mean, it's really cool with the mountains in the background, but not seeing your face, kind of like that could be any random dude standing there. So it's a very, I would say, ineffective profile shot because that's going to come out like this big on your iPhone, and then his picture is going to be like this big. So you're not going to make out or even know who that is just based off that. Paintings by Dusan is a really nice YouTube name, I think. Off the top, he has For You, which I'm not sure what that's about. He has videos, kind of just, and then he has popular videos. I would do the popular videos at the very, very top and then the videos. And then he has his son, which is kind of cool, which is music artist, but doesn't have anything to do with his art. But I get father or son, you're going to promote your own. He could make a lot more playlists. There's really no playlist because he could do cityscapes, he could do boats. I think he does seascapes as well. So he could kind of do those three. So you could do a lot more there. All right, the first video is called Going Home in the Rain. I think it could be a better SEO title as far as Going Home in the Rain. It doesn't say anything to me. I would say Cityscape Painting by Dusan, maybe New York City, wherever the location is. So he's starting off with this really dark canvas. A lot of artists might start with a red background, sometimes a gray background. I'm not sure everybody likes this really, really dark background. Maybe because the city's dark, I don't know. But you have to use a lot of paint to cover that up and make sure it doesn't darken all the colors. Let's skip forward a little bit here, guys. So if you did it on top of white canvas, you wouldn't have to use as much paint, but he prefers the dark canvas. I would also do a headshot when you start off. It's a much stronger intro to bond between the artist and the client if you know who the artist is personally. If you just show a painting, this could be any painter that does this kind of style of knife work kind of painting. So you could get mixed up with the other artist's artwork by not introducing yourself. Let's skip ahead a little more, guys. Here's zoomed in a little bit. He's using time lapse, so it's just really fast-paced painting. I'm on the fence whether this is the best way to show your artwork, because some of the viewers like really slowed down, so you just take snippets and then just stitch them together, versus just speeding up the whole thing and reducing it. Has a really nice painterly style. Let's skip forward a little bit, guys. He's using kind of that mirror effect, so that I really liked. It's a very typical cityscape kind of painting, but very sellable. People like these kind of paintings. Skip ahead a little bit more, guys. I also like the colors he's using. I don't think they're realistic per se, but they're really kind of, he's increased the contrast with the light baby blues for the buildings, because these would probably be more grayscape and not any of these colors he's adding. So he's widely interpreting the colors differently, but it's staying within the realistic proportions. So it's pretty interesting style. I don't really like the electrical wires going across. I think that's really distracting. I would just take those out completely. It doesn't really add anything. You don't need them per se, but maybe for the, I guess you need them to show that they're trolley cars, but I don't really like the lines across the canvas like that. It just kind of ruins the effect. It just shows that it's a mirror effect below, but that's about it. Let me skip towards the end here, guys. So he zoomed out a little bit more, which is interesting. He's adding some finer details with a paintbrush, but more or less still in a palette style. He's just adding some details so it really pops and kind of comes together better, I think. So let's go to the next painting, guys. The next one is called Renoir Deli. Again, it's very unspecific. I would say Renoir Deli Cityscape Painting by Dusan or something, and they have a better SEO approach to this. Again, he's using a very dark palette. This time he's not using the intro of his name. Take a really nice detail shot. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So again, a really nice palette for the city. All these colors are kind of complementary, come together very well. I don't think it's realistic as far as what the city probably actually looks like. Some of those colors there, but I think he's just kind of interpreting a lot of the colors to really can make it pop, which is a cool way to do the city, I would say. Because he's keeping all the proportions and kind of it looks like the city and all that, and I don't think he's taking really elements out or adding elements, but he's definitely reinterpreting the colors to make these really, really bold colors to kind of make it pop. And he's focusing from the inside then all the way out. I probably would block it in myself and then kind of fine tune it, but each painter does this kind of their own style. It might be easier maybe with a cityscape to work from this detail and work your way out. I would encourage from the landscape to definitely get that background really good and then kind of build up, because if you get that far background off and then try to adjust it, it's not going to look right. So it's just much easier to get it right off the bat. The blue is a light bluer, like more rich tone color than probably would be reality if it's a rainy day like this. But again, really nice colors for the, And this style of painting is very popular with collectors. I wouldn't say long-term value is that great, but just because it's been done before, so it's not new paint. So what's usually collectible is what's new, considered new per se. But great technique, I think, here, personal style. Let's skip further ahead, get more of the development of the painting. Here you scroll back a little bit bigger with the zoom. He's just kind of adding some highlights with the paintbrush here before he moves on, which you probably need because you can't really do some of those details with the palette knife very well. So this kind of helps make those elements pop and kind of come together a little bit better than you would with just a palette knife. But he's leaving most of the palette knife in there. It's just amazing too, he doesn't have any of the lines perspective wise. For the cityscape below, you think you'd have it gridded in there, but you don't show anything. Maybe he's edited out in post by just doing the lines and erase, but I think he's just freehanding it. So he has a really good understanding of perspective right out the gate, which is pretty amazing that he can do this. Scroll ahead a little bit further. Gonna have more of the painting in here. So he's getting a lot of details from the closer shot to us. Again, reinterpreting some of the colors. I don't think there's blues and the browns and all this are here, but he's kind of making it really pop by increasing the vibrancy of those colors versus what they would be. They're probably realistically put in here. Probably the scene looks very similar to what is actually being shown. So I don't think he's reinterpreting per se the figures or anything or the cars, but he's definitely reinterpreting the colors to make that color really juicy. Let's scroll ahead a little more, guys. So again, I think it really makes pop is the colors and the painterly style in here is really makes the painting really nice. So I'm sure he's definitely about, you'd sell this pretty easily because people like these kind of cityscape scenes all the time in paintings. Long-term value, again, maybe not as high as you'd want it because it's more decorative style art, but this sells all day long. Let's go to the end here. So there's a lot more detail here to the cars and the figures and just a lot of detail in this painting. The really crazy thing is this background has no paint at all. Like, how are you painting in the background? You don't have any paint in the background. It's kind of strange. Normally you'd have paint on the palette or whatever in the background of the easel, so that's a little strange. That seems really odd that you'd be that perfectionist, but maybe he cleans it every time. I don't know. Seems like it'd be a waste of time to clean it and then repaint it. But, it does look good, I guess, on camera, but it doesn't look realistic. Like, your easel will be that perfect. Scroll to the last one, guys. The next one's called Catching Lunch. Again, that doesn't mean anything. That could be catching lunch interview, catching lunch a picture, doesn't mean someone talking about catching lunch. So very generic title, but that's the title of the painting, but it should be Catching Lunch, painting by boats, boat painting by Dusan or something in there. I think that would be a much better title. So let's start the video. So no intro with the headshot, which I think would be nicer. You get to identify with the artist more. It's really tight detail here so you can get the background as he lays it in. Again, just using mostly one style of palette knife, which is pretty cool. He could be using a series of palette knives, but he's really just using that one size, which can be really strong in itself because you kind of use one tool and just limit yourself to one type of tool. I do that in a style I do similar to this, my abstract style. really rich color there. He's laid on a lot. So this is an important concept too when you do painting, is to lay enough paint on the canvas. Let's scroll ahead a little more. Just adding in kind of boats in the background. It's adding kind of the seashore. I'm not sure that seashore really sells me per se. It doesn't seem like unless it's rocks and they go straight into water, but it seems a little brusque there. Transition from the water to the rocks doesn't seem... It could be a very deep harbor, so maybe that's why. Let's go ahead a little more, guys. There's some more people in here. I think with the boats, I think I would have simplified to like 1 or 2 boats and just get rid of the other boats so you can see more of the skyline. I mean, it's kind of cool to see the traffic of the boats with the people, but I think it would have been really more picturesque with just a few people and no boats, or maybe 1 or 2 boats or smaller boats or something. It's just, they take up a lot of the room of the canvas, so he's just painting what he sees per se, versus saying, you know, making that decision, which you can do as an artist, to say like, there's too many boats, let me take 1 or 2 down. So, and just compile the different pictures together. Some painters just miss this, that you can do this, but they just paint what they see and say, I have to stick to this. You're like, no, you can just recompose it. Just use the photo as kind of a starting point, but for some reason most artists lose that. Really nice detail on the bushes. And he laid in a really interesting color combinations of the trees, like these really dark greens. There's no real browns in there, which I think the trees would have a lot more browns in there, but by just using greens, it really pops against the blue, against the brown below. So very nice color choices this guy is making as far as making the different elements of the painting stand out. The music's a little bit irritating here. It's piano music, but you hear the thump, 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 thump of the piano keys, which a little bit distracting, I would say. Probably record the piano in a different area where you don't hear the thump of the keys. Be nicer. And the water is a little bit off, I would say, because you would have the reflection of the sky, which he's done. But if you're close to water, if you know anything about water, it's a little bit darker than the sky. And also, it depends on how close it is to shore versus farther away. The farther away, it's going to be very dark. So you don't really see that transition. It's just a perfect reflection, which you can do, but it doesn't feel perfectly natural, I would say. I mean, he's interpreting the colors, but you don't really have the depth of the sea being... It just looks like it's one depth of the sea, which is not realistic, I would say. Let's look at the final product here. There's some final details around the boats. I think you can make some of the boat colors pop through the bushes too. That might be more a little realistic there. Versus just a clump of trees just wipe out the boats completely. It doesn't seem like it would actually do that. Alright, so that's that. Now one thing you'll note is he doesn't really have a website, he just has an eBay site. So looking at his eBay site, he only has 1 painting on here. So again, it's showing he doesn't have anything. One of the dangers about using only these type of sites is it's great to be on eBay, Etsy, Society6, Saatchi. You definitely want to be in all those online markets because it allows the customer to find you wherever they're comfortable at. But you definitely want to have your own website as well, because any of those sites could go down and they just lose everything. So your own website, you can kind of reorganize the YouTube videos how you want. You can do an about page. You can do a sign up page for an email and kind of keep your consistent clients going. So it's really important to keep a website, I think, and then just kind of have your website as the key, and then you kind of filter out to the social media or whatever per se. Because any of those social media can disappear, or any of those marketplaces can disappear. Friendster's gone, MySpace gone. I used to have a big MySpace page, it's gone. So there's a real dangers in relying on third-party vendors and that they don't disappear, or maybe they censor you for whatever reason. You say something silly on social media, next thing you know, your website is down because it's not really your website. So it's important to have your own website to, you know, really channel it better. And also on a page like this, you can go here. You can say you're on a chart and then you accidentally hit this. I mean, the problem with these kind of websites is you can just, you know, click something and just be off of what you might get into another artist's website. So I'm not able to demonstrate that, but normally they advertise on your own website other stuff. So it's a real problem with these kind of other vendors, especially like Etsy, for example. It's great to, you know, get in contact with your client that way, but they can see your competitors right next to your own work, which why would you want to pay for that if you don't have to? But yeah, I think I would encourage him to do his own website and maybe add a headshot in his videos. So that's Paintings by Dusan. Hopefully you guys like it, and I'll see you in the next Artist React video.